Internet lolcows, a person whose eccentric or foolish behavior can be exploited to amuse viewers, most popularized by people like Boogie2988, Chris Chan, and even EDP445 before he was outed out as a pedophile. Today we'll be doing a deeper dive into such a figure, a man that rose to mild internet fame and since then has done a complete nosedive into degeneracy, from getting evicted, to getting addicted to a certain substance, to even getting swatted. This is the story of KingCobraJFS. KingCobraJFS, real name Josh Sanders, which I will be referring to him as for the rest of the video, was born on March 26, 1991 in Casper, Wyoming. Josh's parents around this time went through a divorce as well as a custody battle over Josh. Sadly, Josh was born with respiratory distress syndrome, also known as NRDS, a condition that can develop 6 weeks before the baby is born, where their lungs don't fully get developed, making it extremely hard for the baby to breathe. Josh said that his mom in his formative years was psychotic and abusive, leading to a lot of people to speculate that he had NRDS because his mom could have had a drug problem or drank a lot of alcohol when he was in the womb. Though I will point out that this is just speculation. Both parents would keep custody for a while until his father remarried in 1996, taking custody of him. Josh also had two sisters that are straight-A students according to his father, that never has or wants to do drugs or smoking of any kind. Though sadly, as we get into later in this video, Josh would end up doing that and a lot worse. People on Reddit would go to ask Josh's dad what exactly he thinks of Josh. Hello, thanks for your message and your concern about my son, but I have no interest in explaining myself or my family to anyone, but since you asked. Josh isn't my only child, I have two others. One of them just graduated with her AA degree and is not finishing her education out of state. She graduated with a 3.96 GPA and a member of the National Honor Society. My youngest child is very similar. She's a straight-A student in all honor classes at the school. Neither of them have had any interest in tobacco, drugs, or alcohol. Neither have ever even been in any type of trouble at school or anything else. Both are involved in social things, community things, theater, and other arts. Then there's Josh, who, by the way, I happen to be very proud of. From the time Josh was born, we knew there was something wrong. He was very different. By the time he was 5, we started talking to him about counselors to try and get him help, as he did need. From the ages of 5 to 18, he saw counselors and was on medications and was able to function fairly well. When he was young, I went back to college to study psychology in hopes to be able to help him more. I worked with kids in the mental health field for years to gain knowledge and skills to try to help him. I've quit jobs in exchange for lesser paying jobs just so I could be home and be there for him. When he turned 18, he knew he was legally an adult and literally started smoking that day. He also stopped taking his meds and refused to see counselors anymore. Why, you might ask? Because he was tormented, teased, and even harassed every second of every day of his life for being different, being crazy, and seeing a counselor and needing meds, etc., etc. He started drinking the day he turned 21 and became a crutch to cope with his pain he deals with every day. Josh doesn't just have Asperger's syndrome, Josh suffers from mental illness. People don't believe they have magical powers because of bad parenting. People believe they have magical powers because of mental illness. Most people with Josh's level of mental illness live in group homes or on the street as part of the homeless community. Josh graduated from high school, lives in an apartment, has a job, pays the bills, and for the most part, takes care of himself. And yes, I'm very proud of him. Yes, he has some bad habits that I wish he would change, and hopefully when he gets older and more mature. Obviously, I wish he didn't drink and smoke so much, but he's 26 years old and lives on his own. He's an adult, so his parents don't really have a say in what he does, which I would have to agree. After a certain point, it is pretty much on him to do what needs to be done for him to survive as an adult. And a lot of the things that were just mentioned by his dad, we will get into a little bit later in the video. KingCobraJFS was created on November 17th, 2012. Josh would have his channel dormant for around 2 years and started posting for around 3 years. As stated in his first video public, he would delete and mass private all of the old videos from that 3-year time period, but would continue to post from 2017 all the way up to present day.
The program that I use to record my YouTube videos is also giving me issues, and I'm fed up with it. I got so fed up with it that I deleted all my videos
and would accumulate over 50,000 subscribers. A lot of people debate on when exactly Josh would gain notoriety, but a lot of people would source this video uploaded in 2014 as when he would start to grow on YouTube. The video was a documentary published on February 23rd, 2014, titled Gothic King Cobra, documenting his early life, his day to day, as well as talking to him about their hair on their balls. With Josh saying he keeps it trimmed down there, dude. Like, what the hell? Through the documentary, we are also shown a lot of civilians, as well as we meet Jared Brown, a homeless former Marine who possibly ingrained all his catchphrases into his psyche, his most notable one being, "That's what's up." I'll also put on screen all of the other catchphrases he likes to use a lot in his videos. On top of the catchphrases that he would inevitably use, Jared Brown also gave Josh some pretty based and red pill tips on life. And also, as I watched this video, I saw a pretty insane contrast. Josh looked a lot better, looked like he wanted to go somewhere in life, which is really sad where we end up seeing him later in the video, as he'll be a lot different. Like any lolcow, Josh has had a multitude of past sagas, but the most recent one, as we will go over in this video, was the eviction saga. This saga started in 2014 but reached an all-time high in 2020 when Josh was told he caused $6,000 worth of damage and caused the apartment above him to become unrentable due to his constant indoor smoking and spray painting of wands for his wand business. People believe he actually got evicted for allowing bums and homeless people into his apartment. Another opponent that could have served into his eviction was him getting swatted sometime in 2019. After being evicted, Josh was able to move into a new apartment and so far hasn't learned from his past mistakes. A lot of Josh's trolls have been debating on Josh's physical health. A comparison from his past self in 2014, which I mentioned, to present day looks like a somewhat decline. Even though Josh does eat out a significant amount, drinks copious amounts of alcohol, and have had an excessive smoking habit, he still somehow manages to stay skinny fat. Even though weight-wise he has managed to stay somewhat healthy, people have noticed that his hair has gone noticeably thin and his skin significantly paler, which could be caused by alcoholism, which he has said that he needs by his bedside every time he wakes up, which is a common thing for alcoholics. A lot like Josh's physical health, his mental health has also been in a complete downward spiral. Despite Josh's Asperger's, it definitely feels like there's might be something else also going wrong with him. Josh displays a lot of delusion and a huge ego, making himself believe in his own words that he's a handsome goth bad boy, believing he also has magical abilities and believe he's mastered guitar, even though people on Reddit and people on Kiwi Farms say that his guitar playing is pretty garbage. A lot of trolls that avidly view Josh theorize that he has addictive personality disorder, poor impulse control, low IQ, and an oppositional definite disorder. A member of Kiwi Farms made a step-by-step guide on how he deals with certain situations of danger and conflict in his life, and they titled this the Cobra Zone, which I'll read out now. So stage 1 is the confrontation. This is where Josh has been given the what for by a reasonable, competent adult or authority figure. And then stage 2 is the clarity. This is where Josh explains how he understands why what he did was not necessarily wrong, but how it can be perceived as such. Stage 3 is the justification. This is where a typically drunk rant on how he's just doing him and doing his best. Stage 4 is the what if. This is not always present in the normal cycle of the Cobra Zone, but it's typical where he exaggerates on what happened during stage 1 and how he very toughly and badassly would have handled it. And then stage 5 is the blow off. This comes in a couple of forms, typically either him the next day mentioning or repeating due to his autism, or being nonchalant about it, almost dismissive, and or someone in the comment, text, or live chat bringing it back up, which should be a fresh, important subject on a typical person's mind, and he kind of just shrugs it off, calmly repeating some talking points from stage 3, which is the justification. Throughout this whole cycle, Josh at no point will take accountability for his actions, giving a half-baked apology and then just moving on. In Josh's past, he has surprisingly gotten laid. I feed a lot of lolcows and Reddit degenerates in their mom's basement, probably never get, but sadly in his mental health decline into the Cobra Zone, he hasn't really gone outside to meet more girls, but he still believes he's that That sexy goth bad boy, dude. Any girls he would talk to, he will flip-flop from being an incel to being a nice guy, probably trying to impress the woman. Before we get into this next part of this video, I do want to warn everyone that this is pretty deplorable and very disgusting. Viewer discretion advice, especially you, little Timmy.
Yo, is this person fucking retarded?
In the past, John has been in multiple relationships I want to go over because I think it's definitely important because it ties into his mental health decline. In one of Josh's relationships, he was with a girl named Stephanie who he met at his job. For a time, things were great. Stephanie was about to move into Josh's apartment. All things felt good. That wasn't until Josh and his friend got drunk at a gas station, and at one point during it ended up tag teaming a pregnant woman. Absolutely disgusting. And dude, hold on, I need to, oh my god, dude, I need to go throw it. Alright, I'm back, boys. Anyways, so after this happened, Stephanie decided to cheat on Josh with one of his homeboys, which I don't even, like, why are you still together after he literally tag teamed a pregnant woman? Like, why would you still be together with somebody and then just decide to cheat on him? I don't understand it. Anyways, then Josh, for some unknown reason, decided to make it half joke, probably mostly just a threat, to grape Stephanie. On the 4th of July, they ended up breaking up to no one's surprise. Later in 2015, Josh got a girlfriend named Amy, which after one whole day broke up. A short time later, she would end up in jail, and Josh was very happy to hear about this news. After those relationships, he wouldn't really find another girl. That's when his fans decided to get my man Josh a fake one. I can't believe I'm saying this. They decided to get him a $1,000 doll. Not even 24 hours later, Josh would go on to post on Facebook saying a thief came in and stole it. Not his guitar, not anything of value like maybe a TV, a PS5, a computer, but his doll. Makes total sense. He went on to say the police found the thief and said the police just said he was a meth addict trying to get scrap metal out of the doll. Even though later we would find out he just lied and destroyed it himself. Josh since then hasn't gotten any woman. He lusts after what all neckbeards and degenerates do, the gothic baddie. But sadly, instead of Josh trying to improve himself, becoming base and red-pilled, or improving his state of living, he just wonders why no woman, which, by the way, all of the women he asks out are out of his league, but he still asks, why won't they go out with me, dude? And last but not least, to mention about Josh's mental health, I feel like we should mention his opinion on religion. Josh has stated over and over again that he hates organized religion, which is totally an opinion that he can have, except for the fact that he appears with the Church of Satan, which is an organized religion, which a lot of people will point out is pretty hypocritical. A lot of people right now listening are probably asking, how does Josh pay for his livelihood and all this degeneracy? Well, Josh has had a couple of jobs, the first one being at Wendy's. During this time working at Wendy's, he was a subpar worker. For some weird reason, he would clean toilets with his and would also get all the teas mixed up. This led to Josh getting less hours because he lacked in skill, around 2 to 4 hour work shifts. Josh got fired when a troll that people a part of the Cobraverse would call that fat from Kentucky would call upper management complaining about his YouTube videos. Josh would then go on hiatus from work for around 8 months, but would do odd jobs around the city to still make some money. Finally, on May 7th, 2017, Josh would finally get a new job as a dishwasher at the Office Bar and Grill. But in September 2018, Josh put in his 2-week notice, citing the lack of hours and that the business that he was doing was a lot better than his current job. For months, Josh would not tell his father about him leaving work until multiple months later when his dad would stop by for a visit. Now, Josh is seemingly unemployed, with his only source of income being his social security allowance, his dad's money, and his wand business, and sells on Etsy. However, this Etsy account was taken down in September of 2021 after a dispute with a customer in which Josh was unable to provide a refund of $270. Josh is a grifter, someone who begs for money from their audience to stay afloat and to also make it so they don't really have to get a job. But sadly, instead of spending this money he would get from his fans on rent or more important expenses, he just buys fast food. His spending of fast food is so bad, in fact, he spent $1,000 in only 5 days. I hope and pray Josh can pull himself out of this downward spiral he's been on, but sadly he's been on this trend for years and there's no real sign of him changing. He might just eventually become homeless, although I hope that really just doesn't happen. Anyways, that's gonna do it for the video. I hope you all enjoyed. Leave a like for the algorithm, comment down below Cobraverse, and yeah, it's been almost. Peace out.
What we do here is go back.